Alright, welcome back everybody. We are going to do a tomato review today on this tomato right here. And this is called the Dark Galaxy tomato. Now, I'm going to back you out a little bit so we can see a little better. I've had a hard time getting seed for this tomato for, I don't know, several years, 2 or 3 years basically. And every time I did get seed for it, it was just the wrong seed. I got ripped off, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. Completely wrong seed. And that was from eBay and, believe it or not, some websites. So I never got the actual seed. I literally had to buy the seed for this tomato, the true version of it, from overseas. I couldn't get seed for this variety in the United States at all. So I finally got the seeds, and we grew it out, and boy, am I happy I grew this one. This one's an amazing variety. I've been really fascinated with it throughout the years, and I've been wanting to grow this one, which I'm probably going to end up growing for, the next 4 or 5 years every year. I'm going to have this one grown somewhere because I really like this variety. So basically, I think this is a Tom Wagner creation. I don't know offhand. I'll put the information down in the description. You'll be able to read it there. I'm not going to run and check to see who if it was Brad Gates or Tom Wagner. Those two I always get mixed up because they're the two most major tomato breeders out there. So I always get them mixed up. So let's take a closer look at this tomato. As you can see, this is quite a large size tomato. Not quite a pound, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely large size, And so I want to get you really close. I want to try to get you really close. Now, I want to point out something. If you look at the tomato from here, roughly, you can see it's got all them white speckles on it and them white spots. And on the other side, you don't really see it because that's not where the sun is hitting it. If the sun was hitting it more all the way around, this would have been a fully black thing with all these white spots. It looks like a galaxy. And you can see it's got like striping, and the black is like streaking down into the bottom. Got some calf facing on the bottom, but that's all right. See, it goes all the way down, and then that's what it looks like, right? But if you look really closely, and this is something I want to point out with these white spots, this particular characteristic is something I'm starting to see more commonly now. And if you look really close at those white spots are what are known as scabbing. Now, tomatoes don't normally scab. What you normally see scabbing or that kind of an effect is on peppers, and usually you'll see it on embroidered peppers or farmer's market jalapeno pepper or cracked jalapeno. You'll see it gets that cracking and scabbing on it. That's a similar effect as to what you're seeing on here. Now, those white spots are really slight little scabs. It's a very strange effect that some of these tomatoes exhibit. I believe you could probably see it on this side too a little bit. I think it mostly happens where the anthocyanin is, anthocyanin or whatever that stuff is called, the black color. I believe that's where it shows up the best. So that you'll see those spots in there. And so that's what's going on with that. When you see them white spots, that's what that is. That's actually scabs. And so scabbing varieties seem to be getting very popular now, and we're going to be focusing more on some of the other scab varieties out there, like Furework or Scabitha. And there's a number of other tomatoes that are actually scabbers that nobody really knows about. And this is one of them. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Let's throw this on a scale, and then we'll cut it open and then show you what it looks like on the inside. We'll pick this monster up. Okay, so it's 11.3 ounces, so it's not quite 16 ounces. 11.4. Okay, or 324 grams. That's the weight on it. Now let me point something out too also. With this particular variety tomato, more commonly than not, this is an uncommon tomato for that variety. Normally that tomato puts out generally like a slicer sized tomato and has the same effect and everything on it. They're round. 90% of the tomatoes on my plant are round. They're not flat beefsteak like this. This plant seems to put out like one of these type of big beefsteak varieties, shapes, and then all the rest of the tomatoes tend to be more like saladette. It's just unfortunately none of those are ready right now, and I probably got about 2 dozen on a plant. They're not ready, but this one was, so I figured I'd pick it and then get to the review. Going from this stage to being overripe can happen literally overnight. So I have to pick it, cut it, and use it and get it processed, and that's what we're doing now. So let's cut this open and take a look at it. Look at that thing splitting like a log. Wow. Talk about monster health. Look at that, my lord. Look at that. That is unbelievable. That is a beautiful tomato on the inside, man. That is absolutely freaking gorgeous. That is slicer perfect. This tomato is big enough to fit on an entire. If you sliced it not too thin, but thin enough, you put it through a nice thin slice on there on a tomato on a hamburger. That's perfect. It won't gush and squish and all that nasty stuff. Oh, look at that, guys. Wow. That is beautiful, man. Here's the top side of it. That's a gorgeous tomato. Look at that. I'm absolutely impressed with the amount of flesh on the inside, man. That's a very fleshy tomato. I'm going to be cutting these and a bunch of other tomatoes up and making sauce with them today, so we'll see how they come out. So let's do a bricks on this. Okay, it's about 5.5 on the bricks. Not bad. It's above 5, so that's always a good. Anything 5 and above is always good. Not too high, but for the big ones. You wouldn't want a tomato this size to be up in the 8, 9 range. That would be awful tasting, to be honest with you. So let me give that a taste. Okay, so let's get right into the review. What's going on with this tomato? Okay, so let's start off right out the gate with the sweetness. It wasn't terribly high, but it wasn't bad. The balance was actually pretty nice. The whole effect and flora of the tomato, the whole balance of the tomato wasn't bad. It's generally a little bit low in some areas, but it wasn't bad. So the sweetness was about a 26. The tangy was about a 28, somewhere in that range. The tomato flavor itself, I'm probably going to put that at about a 6. It's right in that sweet spot where you want to be with the tomato flavor. So the front end of the flavor had a nice catchy part that came in with an overtone or undertone in the beginning part. And then the aftertaste nice and lingers around, but not too strong. It wasn't a very long lasting aftertaste. So it kind of came and gone pretty quickly. I'm still going to rate that at a 6 for intensity, because it did deliver a nice tomato flavor, a nice package to your taste buds. Moisture, we're going to put that at about a 6.5. That was pretty good with the moisture. It's right at a perfect zone as far as moisture went. Tardy or sour, none at all. There was no tardy or sour. However, the undertones, there was a slight berry type flavor undertone to this thing, almost like a berry type flavor, or some kind of an odd kind of candy flavor type thing. It was just kind of strange, but there was definitely something there. It was kind of noticeable. So I'm going to put that on a 1 on the undertone. So there was something there. It wasn't very long. It didn't last very long. It kind of came in. You got a little kind of an essence of whatever that berry flavor was, and then it kind of dissipated and it disappeared. It didn't remain into the aftertaste. It was just on the upfront part. But there was definitely something going on with the undertones. You could pick that up right away. It's a very nice effect. Texture, we're going to put that at about an 8 on the texture. It was very high, and because the texture is absolutely perfect. This was one of the best texture experiences I've had with a tomato so far this year. The texture is superb on this thing. I'm absolutely floored at how good that texture was. So yeah, I'm going to go 8, possibly even 8.5 on that texture. Very, very good. It was very nice. It was firm, but yet when you chewed it up, it melted in your mouth. It was firm enough where if you put it in that salad, it's not going to turn to mush. It's going to stay like what it is. And then when you hit it with the fork and you bring it up, you eat it, it melts in your mouth. That is a perfect texture on that tomato. That tomato texture was very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice effect on it. Production, I'm going to go about a 6 on the production. It was above average for these size tomatoes, for me anyway. So I did get quite a few tomatoes off of this plant. I was pretty impressed with the production. And it seemed to be blight resistant, and so it allowed the plant to keep growing, and it's to keep growing now. The plant is indeterminate, so the plant just doesn't die, like put its fruit out and die. So it's going to keep going. As long as I keep that plant from that blight from spreading up the plant, that plant will keep going and keep putting out tomatoes. So hopefully we could get some more at the end. Now I did get about, production-wise, I would say I probably got about 24 tomatoes off of there. Nice-sized tomatoes, not as big as this. This is the only one that was that size, but nice-sized tomatoes. We're talking bigger than saladette. I'd say probably slicer-sized tomatoes. And I was pretty impressed. There's quite a few of them on there, and I'll do images of those. I either will include it in this video, or I'll just you'll see images on my website for the other images for that. So they're nice sized tomatoes. Very, very impressed with it. Now, when we talk about skins, I'm going to put the skins a little above average. So the higher the skin rating is, the less you feel of the skin. So it broke up nice. So The skin was about a 6. Average is like what you would get from a store. And you go to a store and you get a skin and it kind of breaks up, but you know it's there, but it chews up with the thing, and you don't have a problem with the feel of the skin and everything. So this was a little above that. It broke up nice. It was very soft. It wasn't like cellophane getting stuck to the roof of your mouth. Nothing like that. So we're going with a 6 on the skins. Very, very nice on the skins. Seeds, I'm generally going to put this one, if it has a lot of seeds, that would be 10. If it has lower seeds, it would be 1. With seeds, this isn't that seedy of a variety. I'm not that impressed with the amount of seeds I get from it. So it's not like you're going to get a terrible ton of seeds. And for some people, that's good. So it's low seed, more sauce. For people like me, I want more seed, less sauce, because I got so many freaking tomatoes to eat that I don't need the sauce, I need the seed. And that's in my particular case because I sell seeds. But because of that reason, that doesn't change the grade on the seed. It was low variety, so I'm going to put this seed variety probably about a 4.5 to 4 somewhere. It's slightly lower than the average. The seeds are very large for this tomato, and it takes up a lot of room. And because of that reason, it's just not as many seeds. So you do get seeds, but not as many as the average tomato. So it is kind of on the low side. So how do I rate this tomato, from a 1 being the best and the 10 being the lowest? I'm going to rate this tomato at about a 2. I'm going to put this up there at about a 2. I think it's a fantastic tomato for eating wise, for presentation. The plant itself was actually quite exquisite. It was very pretty. Had a lot of purpling in the leaf. It was just a beautiful plant, and the tomatoes are absolutely gorgeous. People will see that and their eyes will look at it like, what the heck is that thing? It's just fabulous artwork almost looking at these tomatoes. They're so beautiful. So with all of that combined with the delicious flavor of this tomato is very good. Again, the flavor itself seemed a little on the lower side. It wasn't as much as intense, the intense part of it. However, because of all these other factors with it, the tomato itself is definitely got to come up higher because of the interest of the tomato. So basically that's it, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the description so you can visit the website and pick up seeds for this particular variety of tomato. And I will also leave information in the description below and on the website where you can read about it. Also, too, if you have any experience on this tomato and you want to comment below and share your thoughts on when you grew it and how did it go for you. Is it similar to what I just said? Is it different from what I said? It's always good for me to know because it kind of lets me know that my reviews are kind of in the ballpark as far as the flavor and some of the other effects. I did want to mention too, again, I always forget this, is the seasons. Now, this is generally a early to mid-season, more of a mid-season variety. Very large tomatoes. They didn't start ripening until basically the end of July. So for me, that's perfect mid-season. But you might be able to get a few to come out early. It depends. Depends on the size of the tomato. This one's been sitting on there a while. And as far as the plant goes, it's typical height plant. You're talking, it could go anywhere from, say, 4 feet to, say, 8 feet in height. My plant's about 4.5 feet right now. But they can't probably get much larger. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'll try to remember to leave some images here at the end of the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.